She was losing her child and losing her people. And all the while, Adaku stood by, pretending to be her closest friend, pretending to mourn, while inside she rejoiced. She had taken what Nnenna loved most, and she had gotten away with it, or so she thought. Because what Adaku did not know was that the gods were watching, and soon the river would speak, and soon justice would come. Time flows like the Wangele River, endless, steady, yet never the same. Years has passed since the mysterious disappearance of Ifeanyi from Umuduru, since the day the river rejected him as an offering, since the gods plucked him from the jaws of death and placed him under the care of Abaranwai, the revered priestess of the river. Hidden deep within the sacred groves, far from the prying eyes of Umuduru, Nnenna grew, not just in body, but in spirit. Even as a child, he possessed a wisdom far beyond his years. He listened when the wind whispered through the trees. He understood the language of the birds, the secrets of the river, and the unspoken warnings of the spirits. His hands, though young, had the strength of a warrior. His mind, though tender, carried the wisdom of elders. The villagers who visited the shrine in times of need often marveled at him. "This is no ordinary boy," they would say, watching him move with a quiet grace that belonged not to a child, but to one who carried an ancient purpose. But Abaranwai knew. She had always known. This child, this boy whom the gods have saved, was meant for something far greater, more than life in the shrine. Fate would call him, and when it did, he would have to answer. One fateful day, as the sun bathed the land in gold, the sounds of distant drums echoed through the forest. The village of Umuduru was alive with celebration. It was the New Yam Festival, a time of joy, of dancing, of honoring the gods for the harvest. The air was thick with the aroma of roasted yams, spicy pepper soup, and fresh palm wine. The villagers adorned themselves in their finest wrappers, their bodies decorated with uli patterns, their hearts light with festivity. And somewhere beyond the sacred groves, Ifeanyi felt it. A pull, a calling. He had never stepped beyond the river's reach. Abaranwai had forbidden it. But something deep within him, something unexplainable, urged him forward. So as the sounds of the festival grew louder, Ifeanyi walked. Barefoot, dressed in a simple cloth wrapped around his waist. He stepped into Umuduru for the first time. The village square was alive with music and laughter. But as Ifeanyi entered, something shifted. A hush fell upon those nearest to him. Men paused in their drinking. Women, busy serving food, found their hands trembling. Children, once lost in playful games, stirred silently, uncertain. There was something about this boy. His eyes, dark and piercing, held the depths of the river itself. His stance, steady and confident, spoke of strength beyond his age. He was a stranger, yet something about him felt familiar. Then, in the crowd, a woman turned. Nnenna. She had been laughing a moment ago, sharing a drink with the other women. But as her eyes locked onto the boy, the world around her faded. Her heartbeat slowed. Her breath caught in her throat. Her fingers trembled, the calabash of palm wine slipping from her grasp, shattering on the earth. She did not understand it. This feeling, this pull, this unbearable ache in her soul. She had never seen this child before, and yet she knew him. She felt him. Deep within her, something long buried, something broken and lost, stirred back to life. Her feet moved before she could stop them, carrying her forward, closer to the boy, closer to the truth she did not know yet. Ifeanyi felt it too. His eyes met hers, And in that instant, something unseen passed between them. Recognition. A deep bond, a bond deeper than memory. The heartbeat of the mother calling to her lost son. And though neither of them understood it at that moment, fate had begun to weave its final threads. Fate is like the roots of an ancient Iroko tree, hidden beneath the earth, twisting and weaving, binding destinies together in ways no man can see. But the gods see all, and now they had begun to pull the threads of truth into the light. The Dibia of Umuduru, a man revered for his wisdom and connection to the spirit world, had spent the night in solitude, calling upon the gods for guidance. He had not expected them to answer so forcefully. As he sat before the sacred fire, his body wrapped in the smoke of burning herbs, the spirit came to him. Visions flashed before his eyes. A child, a river, hands reaching desperately, trembling before vanishing beneath the water. And then a figure standing at the river's edge, watching as the currents carried something away. The gods whispered a name. A child, stolen by jealousy, raised by the gods, now returned. The Dibia gasped, his eyes snapping open, his chest heaving with the weight of what he had seen. The truth must be revealed, he murmured. The child must know who he is. By sunrise, the whispers had begun. The village burst with curiosity. Did you hear? The Dibia has seen something in the spirit world. They say a lost child has returned. They say the gods will expose a great evil. But the whispers grew louder, more pointed when someone noticed something strange about the boy who had arrived in the village during the festival. Ifeanyi. At first, it was just murmurs, a passing comment, a fleeting thought. He reminds me of someone. He reminds me of someone. Then an elder, one who had known Nneka's late husband Obinna in his youth, spoke words that sent a chill through the crowd. The boy, he said, his voice slow and uncertain. His face, it carries the shadow of Obinna. Gaps rippled through the villagers. Could it be? Could this boy, who had appeared a thief from nowhere, be connected to Nneka's past? And if so, how? The tension in Umuduru reached a breaking point when Abarawai, the priestess of Wangele River, stepped forward. She had watched in silence for years, waiting for the right moment. Now the time had come. Under the weight of villagers' expectant gazes, she spoke. This child, she said, placing a hand on Ifeanyi's shoulder, was found at the river's edge many years ago. Gasps, murmurs, a ripple of shock went through the crowd. Nwangele did not claim him. The river returned him to the land. The weight of her words settled over the crowd. A child found by the river, a child returned instead of taking. There was only one such story in Umuduru. Nneka staggered forward, her heartbeat pounding in her ears. Her lips trembled as she spoke, her voice barely above a whisper. You mean my son? Abarawai's eyes held a deep sorrow, a sorrow only a guardian of secrets could know. I mean that Ifeanyi is the child the river refused to drown. Silence fell upon the village. All eyes turned to Ifeanyi, the boy who had walked into Umuduru with the weight of a forgotten past. The boy who had always felt the pull of something he could not name. And then, like the breaking of a dam, the truth flooded in. Mothers clutched their children. The elders whispered amongst themselves. Men exchanged uneasy glances. And standing at the center of it all, Adaku's body went cold. The walls of her lies were crumbling. She could feel the gods tightening their grip. The elders spoke in hushed voices, their faces grave. This cannot go unanswered, one of them finally declared. An investigation must be done. A verdict had been reached. The gods had uncovered the past, and soon they would reveal the hand that had thrown an innocent child into the river. Adaku's breath hitched. Her nightmare had begun. A storm was coming, not the kind that darkened the sky or sent the trees swaying in the wind, but the kind that rose from the depths of truth, shaking the very foundation of deceit. And at the center of it all was Adaku. Ever since the truth had begun to unravel, Adaku had changed. Her once lively presence in the village had dimmed. She no longer lingered at the market to chat with other women. She no longer attended gatherings or laughed freely as she once did. Instead, she kept to herself, watching, waiting, fearing. She knew. She knew the gods had begun their work. She knew the spirits of the river would not rest until justice was served. She knew her time was running out. But what she did not know was that someone had seen her the night she threw Ifeanyi into the river. And they were ready to speak. It was on the night of the village's emergency gathering that the final blow came. The elders had summoned everyone to the Obi, the heart of Umuduru, where matters of great importance were discussed. The air was thick with tension. The people wanted answers. Adaku stood among them, her fingers clutching the edge of her wrapper, her breathing shallow. She had to remain calm. She had to act as if she knew nothing. But then, a voice spoke. A voice she had long forgotten. A voice she never knew saw her. I have something to say. All heads turned. There, stepping forward from the crowd, was Obiageli, a servant woman who had once worked for Adaku's household. Her hands trembled, but her voice was strong. I saw her, she said. I saw Adaku the night the child was thrown into the river. A collective gasp swept through the crowd. Adaku's blood ran cold. Obiageli swallowed hard, her eyes darting between the elders and the villagers. I was coming back from fetching water late that night, she continued. I heard footsteps and I hid. I saw her standing at the river's edge, holding a baby. Adaku's knees weakened. She was whispering, saying the child had stolen what was hers, that he should never have been born. Tears filled Obiageli's eyes. And then she let go. The silence that followed was deafening. The villagers stared at Adaku, their eyes wide with shock, disgust, rage. Adaku's lips parted, but no words came. Her body trembled. She had been caught. She had been seen. The Dibia stepped forward, his staff striking the ground with a force that sent a chill through the air. The gods have exposed the wicked, he thundered. Adaku, do you deny these words? All eyes fell on her. She opened her mouth to lie, to deny, to run, but nothing came. Nothing but the crushing weight of guilt. Her breath came in quick, shallow gasps. Her heart pounded against her ribs, her hands shaking violently. And then she broke. A wretched cry tore from her throat as she collapsed to her knees. She wailed, "Yes, yes, I did it, yes." Gasps, murmurs went through the crowd. Some stepped back, as if they had just laid eyes on a demon. I threw him in the river, Adaku sobbed. I was jealous. I was bitter. I wanted Nnenna to suffer as I had suffered. I thought the ghost would take him. I thought he would disappear forever. She clutched at her chest, her face contorted in misery, fear, regret. But the gods refused my offering. They rejected my offering. She wept into the dirt. But the village did not pity her. No one stepped forward to comfort her, because her crime was unforgivable. The Dibia's voice rang out again, cold and final. The gods have spoken, he declared, and their wrath is upon you. Adaku shuddered. You will not find peace in this land. You will not be buried among your ancestors. You are cursed. Cursed to wander. Cursed to suffer. Cursed to live with the weight of your sins. The villagers roared in agreement. Banish her! She must leave at once. Adaku lifted her tear-streaked face, her body racked with sobs. But there was no mercy in their eyes, only justice. That night, under the pale gaze of the moon, Adaku was cast out of Umudur, barefoot, alone, cursed by the gods. As she walked into the darkness, a sound the villagers will not forget for years to come. Justice had been served. Please support my growing channel by subscribing, like, and comment. I love you.